All right, we got Parks the Pros back here. We have Roman Perez tonight. Just wanted to get into his background, where you grew up, home life, schools you may have attended. Just let me know about you.
Hope everyone is doing good. Thank you for the invite. Really appreciate it. Um, I was born in the Dominican Republic. Came at a young age to New York City. Was raised in Brooklyn, Williamsburg,
Okay.
here in New York. Um, the community, usually for Hispanics, especially Dominican culture, everyone plays baseball. But in my neighborhood, most of the kids play basketball.
Okay.
In the 90s is an era where, Jordan, the 96 Dream Team, NBA Hang Time had came out. In the Nickelodeon shows, you had Shaq on every show.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a beautiful era where, even in cartoons, you'll see like Doug, the Rugrats, whatever, they always have an episode where it was like containing a basketball episode.
Yep. Yep.
And it was like the rise of, hip hop and basketball in that era, in that time. And just the passion, the love that people had for it, whether it was the kids copying the new Jordans and, my mom got me these pairs, and or the kids, in New York City, we have a court every other 2 blocks is a basketball court.
Mm-hmm.
So just seeing the passion within the community, and of course, me as a kid and my brother, we collected basketball cards. It was just too much. From the video games, from the cards to the kids, that love grew in me for sure. But to answer your question, I got cut from 6th grade all the way to 12th grade, so I didn't play school basketball until like I was like maybe 23 years old.
Mm-hmm. Understood. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I didn't want to cut you off.
Yeah, the reason to that is because growing up, despite all the good, beautiful things of the sport and the community, the people, the 90s was rough in Williamsburg because it was like the rise of like Hispanic gangs.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, my parents didn't let me go out, me and my brother, to like the basketball courts and like work on our game or even stay playing 3-on-3 with our friends. Like we had a curfew, 3 o'clock right after school. So, we didn't have a chance like the other kids to be on the court, work on their game, or just play basketball. So my pops would take us for like 30 minutes on a Sunday. But, 30 minutes and 7 days in a week, that's not enough.
Right.
So I would always go to tryout because I love the game, but I would always get cut. And then when I was about 17 years old, 18, that was when my mom finally trusted me to like, go out, come back by 6, 7 o'clock. I just became a basketball junkie. Was in the park like 3-4 hours, but I had basically no looks, nothing. People was like, "Yo, why are you going so hard? You're not gonna make it anywhere. You didn't even play high school, middle school, elementary school basketball."
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that was my stages till high school.
Gotcha. And people don't realize is some guys just don't have to take that same path. Like you didn't take the traditional path. Okay, cool. That's no different than somebody coming from another country. And yeah, he just started playing his senior year, huh? We see that too, and it's just like everybody's different. Everybody's path is different. Only thing that's the same is that motor and that heart. Can't teach both of those. You show with that. That's a lot of the battle right there. So, but what made you? No, you know what? Better yet, what has the sport done for you? Would be where I want to go now.
I mean, going back to where I left off with the story.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up going to school in Utah. My cousin, she's a guidance counselor out there, so she had brought up the opportunity to go out there. And just seeing that the sport, the university I was in was diverse, Utah Valley State College, with like people from different parts of the world, students.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, man, this game is not only like in New York City, this is big. And this is like something that everybody plays.
Yep.
2003, 2004 was around the time when YouTube had came out.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't see like different countries on TV like playing basketball. Google, like we didn't really have that at that time.
Yep.
So you would read it like in a slam magazine, stars from overseas and stuff. But to actually see footage of players and people just playing overseas when YouTube came out, and when I was in the university, seeing other people from other countries playing, I was like, man, this is more than just a game. Like this ball speaks for more than just shooting the hoop. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So.
And that's when it started. You know.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times that stuff is eye opening because, everybody, either loves AAU or hates AAU, but some of these situations where kids get out here and it's like, whoa, it's just not my team that's good. It's that shock factor. Like, hey, okay, people are over here playing. A good one was Kevin Durant. Obviously, been around the East Coast, everything like that. He ends up, I believe, in a tournament in either North Carolina or South Carolina. I can't remember that. And he runs into, Steph essentially is the end of the story. And he's like, who is this kid shooting from half court? I never seen the kid look like this. Like, what's going on here? And he's just hitting these shots. And he's like, we get to college, and I'm looking at like, oh, okay, I know who that is now. But it just seeing the different dynamics in it, you don't understand that until you get to some of these different places. So sometimes it's a humbling situation. Sometimes it's more or less of you just didn't know that somebody else cared about it like you do.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. So once you got immersed in playing and you started to see like your career rise, like just either playing in the neighborhood or once you got to school, was it more or less of being a pro? Was it a goal at that point? Did you think there was something that you could get to, or?
I mean, I always created in my mind, like I always want to be around the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I always had like a A, B, C, D, like what ifs.
Yeah.
If A doesn't work, then I'm gonna try B. If B doesn't work, then I'm gonna go with C. If C doesn't work, I'm gonna go with D. But A was always like the highest level.
Mm-hmm.
Then B would be like regular, and then C was like less, and then D was like I'm just gonna be a park legend. Like that's it.
Yeah.
So it was fun, but the more I worked, the more I met people along the journey. I ended up going after Utah. I didn't even make the team in Utah. I tried out over there. I was like, man, I got cut in school in New York. I got cut in Utah. Do I really suck? But that didn't stop me. Just kept going. Came back to New York, working my game. Played for Hostos Community College for 1 year. Didn't get much run, but I was grateful to actually be on a team.
Mm-hmm.
Organized team. Then I went to New York City Tech the year after that, and as I'm working on my game, more street ball opportunities. Here in New York City, we have so much tournaments.
Mm-hmm.
So people were just inviting me to play like in West 4th, come play unlimited here, come play unlimited there. So here I am. The thing about street ball is, like let's say for example, Rucker Park or West 4th. You never know who's gonna show up that day.
Mm-hmm.
You might be ready to play a street ball game, and I don't know where the other team might have like an NBA invited guest or overseas dude that makes 6 figures, and you're playing against this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then some games I remember my second game in West 4th, I played against my brother Smush Parker.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was like, yo, that's Smush, he played with Kobe, etc. And I had 16 points that game. I mean, one layup was on Smush,
mm-hmm.
but for me to walk out of that park and then go back to my neighborhood and be like, yo, I had 16 points against Smush Parker, an NBA guy,
mm-hmm.
like it gave me hope.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So, and it's fun because, once you playing in so much leagues, you see it, you play against different competition, and you just tell yourself, like, man, like, you know what? Let me push myself. Maybe there's somebody out there that's watching, and in one of these games, they're gonna be like, yo, who is this guy? Let me give him a chance,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it has happened, by God's grace. Casey pretty much sure remembers Nacho Martin, Spaniard legend,
mm-hmm.
and he was my street ball player too here in New York, but he's also a professional, like top level player in Spain,
Mm-hmm.
and I ended up playing in Spain, in Russia, and France because of him.
Yeah.
And then those doors helped me play in other places, but again, the roots was the streets, which
Mm-hmm.
is crazy, but it's possible,
Yeah. And that's one thing our head coach at the JUCO I'm at, he always says that too. He's like, you never know who's watching. And we ended up having one kid for 3 years because of COVID, right? And he started getting recruited by some D2s. Now, at first they was just recruiting them videos. Send us a link, send us a link, send us a link. They had time to come over, and our gym is pretty big, so we can have 2,000 people in here and it'll still look like it's almost empty. It just is what it is. So we look up. I'm like, did he tell you he was coming? Nah. He tell you he was coming? Nah. So he didn't tell any of us coming. So this man drove 5 hours to sneak down here to make sure that you are who you're supposed to be. So that's one of those you never know who's watching things because he wanted to see you as natural as you are. Look, I don't want the extra game because I told you I'm coming. Look, I just want to see you. And all he did was do his regular thing. And it ended up working out because that's the school he chose as well. So you never know like who exactly is watching. Or like I'll never forget too. At one point, ASICS wanted to start up like a grassroots program, and the school I'm at was in between a secretary retiring and a new one coming in, but they hadn't hired anybody yet. So there's all these voicemails piled up. I had a voicemail from John Chaney, and everybody thought it was fake, and I thought it was fake too because this was around the time everybody had the voice app. We could steal somebody's voice, and I'm like, okay, I went through my phone, and I was just yelling at people that I thought would do that. I'm like, I want to fight you. What do you mean? I was like, you used the John Chaney voice, did you? No, 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 no. All right, I hang up on this one. Once I knew they weren't lying, I hang up on them, and I did that to about 10 people till eventually John called back, and I ended up having a conversation with him. But again, you just never know who's watching you or watching some of the things that you come across because everybody else has things that they're trying to actively work towards too, and some of those things intersect.
Yeah, definitely. That's true.
Yeah. So, all right. So, I want to switch gears here just to something different, and then we're gonna bring it right back. As far as sports, what's your rant? And what I mean by that is something either you love that you've seen other people go through, some you could dislike that you've seen other people go through, that's just within the sport that you are actually passionate about.
The underdog story.
Okay.
The underdog story is a story. I've seen many underdog stories, like so many, but I've seen it because of again hard work, self belief, and the vision of players in a year or two. That's gonna be me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I see those players that because the underdog story is beautiful, but you also gotta respect the game. You gotta love the game.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go out there and be like, oh, I'm gonna be better than him. I'm gonna be better than him. Nah, you gotta be a better version of yourself. We yes, it's always good when you're on the court to compete, etc. But if you're a better version of yourself, then it can only take you so far. Then you're trying to be better than the next person. So the underdog is like the best example of just believing. It don't have to be basketball. It could be in any sport. Of someone that can give hope to someone that doesn't get a chance.
Yep. Most definitely. Like to hear that.
Yeah.
All right. So, and just staying on that kind of trajectory, what's some goals you think the youth should have in their mind when it pertains to sports?
In my mind or other people's minds?
No, in your mind. Like, what do you think they should be thinking about going into this basketball thing or going into just something sports related? Just first season. How should they go in? The green mind, green is growing. Everything is just completely open to them. What should be some things they should think about, regardless of the age that they start?
Yeah. It doesn't matter the age. You have to definitely have a tunnel vision. And the tunnel vision is at the end of the tunnel, your goals. And sometimes you might not reach those goals, but you can get close. But when I say tunnel vision is like imagine if you have like a tunnel, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that tunnel, as you're going through the tunnel, you have distractions trying to come through the tunnel. They can't because you're so focused and going straight.
Yeah.
Not letting in distractions, come into your mind. Staying focused, especially for student athletes, with their grades, especially here in America. If you don't have grades, you can't play in school.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can't play in school, you fell off, then, you're back in square one. Sometimes in New York City, back in the streets, basically playing park ball, where park ball is guaranteed for life. If you want to aim for the top, you can't aim for what you already see. I feel like New York City projects these tournaments. It's great. I run my own leagues, but we also got to keep it real with some athletes. Like, listen, is this what you want to do forever, or is this something that's going to help you get to that level? So, having that vision, staying focused, and just putting priorities right. Sometimes you have to risk, a regular life. When I say regular life, a lot of people, they might score 40 points in a game and then they'll go celebrate, they'll go drinking or whatever. Nah, man, that was one night. You gotta continue to succeed. You gotta continue to do that. You gotta continue to work. Like, don't celebrate. Don't celebrate. You can celebrate, but don't celebrate every accomplishment. You gotta, yes, okay, I did that. But also, okay, let me put what I did here because I want to accomplish more. And as long as you're going through that journey, you're inspiring others. It's also great to have that tunnel vision, but also allowing other people to see that you can accomplish those things with a lot of hard work, time, dedication, and of course, like I said before, loving the game and not disrespecting it.
Yep, definitely. And I think, a lot of people, they don't get the full spectrum with that. So they find themselves actually abusing it or just not respecting the process. Everybody has a process. I mean, at this point, I've been coaching 14 years. So I see the process in other people and how they go about stuff. And sometimes, hey, you agree to disagree, you disagree, or you agree with people. And it's all about everybody started off this game doing it one way. And we all come across some kind of friction in it that makes us feel some type of way, whether it's good or bad. And it's on us just to talk those situations out so that way we can have a better product for everybody. But sometimes that anger or that vitriol some people have, it doesn't allow them to talk, amicably about certain situations. It's just kind of like, rage monster. Okay, but after you calm down, we still have an issue. And that's what doesn't, always get fixed. So,
the thing with a lot of athletes, and I've seen it more now, is they think everything is guaranteed. Their spot is guaranteed. Where they're at is guaranteed. Like, nothing is guaranteed. While you working and putting 150 shots at the gym, there's someone else somewhere else running suicides, going through struggles and shooting 500-600 shots a day. Going for your spot. You know what I mean? There's someone that's hungry out there. So especially a lot of young athletes, I always tell them they gotta appreciate the game because, if you don't appreciate it, your teammates, your coaches, and other people's gonna see it, man. And by not appreciating the game, you could lose your own opportunity.
Yep, that happens. All right. So with that being said, staying in that same vein, for us as people that are mentors, coaches, you in situations where you're acting, and what, in your opinion, how do we push this culture forward so that way it ends up being a better product? We leave this better than we found it.
Yeah. So growing up as a kid, like, I had maybe like one or two mentors that would give me advice. Then you have, the people that will tell you like, yo, you're going to make it far, but you don't need to work so hard. Like, those people was like the ones that was like, put them to the side. I feel like for this culture, whether you're a player or coach, if you're older and you got a younger, I would say disciple, whatever it is, like when I coach my kids, like it's a mix of like high school and middle school, like that older group, man, just lead by example. Our resume, of course, 14 years coach, my resume, our resumes should help these young men and young women as well understand that, we got to be appreciative of what we got at hand, because right now, especially during these times, this game can provide so many opportunities on and off the court. It's not only just, like I said earlier, shooting a hoop. You can take a plane and do something with this round basketball, but it's up to the athlete to understand that it's possible with work, but they're not going to acknowledge that if us, our generation, those people that's already been there, even those that haven't been there that still have some type of knowledge, push the next generation so that they can follow their dreams, but also we got to keep it real with them because we could tell a kid like, yo, you're going to make it real far, you might make it to the NBA, but also tell them as well, like, listen, Basketball's gonna help you with your education. It's gonna help you get to college. If you put in work, there's a chance you might keep going. But if you don't, you know what? It's helped you get into school. It's helped you get there that far. But man, we just gotta be light because right now the culture is basically, I feel like it's losing right now, in a sense where kids are so focused on the sport and they're not focused on what really matters, and that's education.
True. And the basis of all of this is how can you get it to be paid for? And right now we see so much D1 or bust culture. Like, yeah, that's cool, but we got some guys that are older, 22, 23, 24, 25, that are still in D1. I'm sorry, but most 18-year-olds, when they run into that 23, 24, 25-year-old, well, that's a focused grown man. And you come in here, you might want to play a little bit. Well, the school is going to consider that. So what you have is you have less scholarships going to high school kids. Partially because of COVID, but it's supply and demand too. We got so many kids out here that just don't understand that free school should be the goal. Just free school. If you can have the opportunity to get to free school, then maybe you can be a little more picky and choosy because you might want to go to a school too because of the academic program. We completely get that, and no coach is going to fault you over that. However, the way that they grab and abuse the situation and kind of hold some of the scholarships hostage, that's an issue that we have right now. Because guys are trying to wait till June. I'm like, hey, that transfer portal is about to get real interesting for people that have been paying attention in mid-February. Don't think y'all going to the postseason? Yeah, it's about to get interesting. Kids are gonna be interested. You're gonna be interesting. So, and they just don't get it. So my next one would be.
I hear you.
Next one will be staying on this train for the youth, and then I'm gonna bring it back. Will be athletes and social media. What can be done so they can market themselves, as opposed to be their own destruction?
I feel like social media is like a website. Usually when coaches say, or whatever, even a resume. In the resume, will say like, "What's their Instagram tag?" So it's like I'm using Instagram as an example because that's like what mainly most of these young athletes post videos and pictures. But like, stick to whatever you're doing. You're gonna post about basketball, cool. You can post your family, cool. But then when you post the extra things, the negativity, in many cases, if a chooses to do whatever they want to do with their life, cool. But in this case, talking about student athletes, and they're posting that they're drinking, partying, smoking, doing the things that they're not supposed to do as athletes on social media, they're leaving a bad example, not only for the youth and for their fans, so-called, even classmates and teammates, but they're also leaving a bad example for anyone that's trying to recruit them in the next level. Because nowadays, anybody can go on social media, create a fake page, just saying, go on their story, take a screenshot of it and say, use that as proof and say, yo, you know what? We can't get this kid because he does this.
Yep.
We can't get this guy because he does that. We're not gonna allow that person to come and ruin our program. So just because of that small mistake, that small video, that small picture, whatever, comment, sharing, they could ruin their chances of getting to that next level. Because a lot of people always say like, oh man, you don't post so much on social media. It's like, I hear that with other people. So you're not, you don't play ball no more. And it's like, bro, the person was like, yo, I play ball every day. I just don't post on social media. Cool. But again, social media is basically people share they're active, how active they are. Unless the coach or whoever seen them in person, man, it might be someone in China trying to get a college player from the United States. If they don't know them personally, they want to check to see the person out. So it's very, very important that they keep that clean.
Yep, most definitely. All right. As far as professional playing career, wanted to get into that. So I see you play pretty much everywhere. So let's just start to break down the differences in places that you play. Like, tell me about the cultures. Cause I might want to, hop on a plane with my girl here, and we might want to go check some stuff out. You got all the info, bro.
So after college, New York City Tech, I needed film, so I ended up going to my country, Dominican Republic. Of course, I'm a native there, so it's easy for me to play there.
Yep.
I went to 2 leagues that were like super trash. But it was like a rush type of thing. My boy was like, "Yo, I'm gonna get you in Spain. I need footage. I cannot." And I was like, "Bro, I have in my home court, Rodney Park. I have Rodney Park footage of me scoring 40." He's like, "Bro, street ball footage is not good enough. They look at street ball as an and one mixtape." But I'm like, "Yo, bro, there's NBA and pro guys that play." It's like, listen, it's not gonna work. Guys with uniforms in the street, it looks like an and one mixtape. You need actual in the arena footage for me to help you out. So I ended up going to Dominican Republic. Then after Dominican Republic, I went to a tournament in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And then from Russia, I went to Spain looking for a team. I found a team, but that team didn't pay much. So I was there for like almost 3-4 months. Came back to New York, then was doing the pro circuit here to build my resume, get that indoor professional footage.
Mm-hmm.
And then about 2 years later, went back to my country, got legit footage from over there. I filmed some stuff here. I got married with my family, my daughter, my wife, and just settled down a little bit. And then after that, just continued to go to my country, Dominican Republic. Then after that, I was invited to like some tournaments in Mexico. I'm gonna get to your question.
You good?
And then and then again in the East Coast, ABA, APBL, EBA, CBA, like just different teams reaching out. Rest in peace to my pops, but he was the one always like supporting me. How much you need to take the Greyhound? $50, $60. Okay, boom, go, have fun, do your thing,
Mm-hmm.
Or carpool with a friend. I'll tell the team like, "Yo, I got a 6'8" guy for you," knowing that the 6'8" guy got a car, so we'll go together,
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Both of y'all come. Not only that, I'm providing opportunity to my friend.
Yep.
So that's one thing about me. I always provide. If I can get opportunity and I can help somebody, I'm always gonna share that. As long as that person is serious and they're not gonna mess my name up.
Yep.
But ended up. I played in Mexico in like 6-7 tournaments. After that, went to Paris, to France, to play in the world's biggest street ball tournament, Quay 54, 2 times. I've been to Cuba. I was in Brazil last year. This game it's unreal. Whenever opportunity arises, it's like, really, it's just crazy because it goes back to when I was in my park, and going back to like who's watching. I'll always put on my headphones and like with Rocky Balboa music training in the park.
Mm-hmm.
For like hours, just there, trying to catch up because my skills wasn't that good. And my mindset was like, every car that passed by might be a scout. And like in the 3 years of doing that, having that mentality, cold, hot weather, rain, snow, whatever it was,
Mm-hmm.
like I maybe saw like maybe 2 or 3 people that I knew, "Yo, keep working hard," but no scout. But that mentality helped me go hard every single time I was on that court.
Yep.
And then when I am in these countries, I'll close my eyes for 5-6 seconds, and it'll be like, man, I remember when I used to be in the park wishing for opportunities like this, and here it is, like unreal. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I'll be in the park like 8, 9, 10, just 1 in the morning, and I'll be draining, like mouth dry, draining sweat, with the ball next to me, like looking up to the stars, like, God, when? Like when is it gonna happen? Like when? Come on.
Yep.
And then when those opportunities come, or even when I'm getting on the plane and I'm like, man, I just close my eyes for 1 second, just remembering Roman 10, 15 years ago, just wishing for those moments.
Yep.
So it's beautiful, man. This game is unreal, man.
That's definitely what's up. That's definitely what's up. And take me through. You're in a new country. You may or may not know the language already, or just the law of the land. Like, what's it like being somewhere new, and then hey, basketball's done for the night. I just got here. What am I gonna eat? What does that look like? And this is the first time that you're in this place. You didn't fly over to try out nothing like this. First time here.
So with me, like for example, last year, I got invited to play like in a FIBA tournament in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
you know me, I go on Google right away.
Yeah.
What's the sightseeing around there? What's the nearest beach?
Yeah.
And of course the food, and also like the category of the danger of where I'm gonna be. I was in Rio de Janeiro, and literally it said if you have no business traveling there, don't go. So I'm like, holy smokes, like it's a red flag. Like for theft and like just the gang violence, and I'm like, man, I can't believe this. Like, I really, and even getting on the plane, like the nerves. But it's different. It's totally different. It's like an adventure.
Okay.
You get there, and the food definitely doesn't taste like USA. Over here, everything here is fast food. Even like Spanish restaurants, they're like fast. It's fast. In 5 minutes, you're gonna have the meal, and it's fast food. But over there, it's like overseas, like the people prepare the things with love, and even more with love if they know that you're not from there. Oh, where you from? New York. New York. Oh, and they're like going extra hard to make sure that steamed steak or that steamed chicken is made good. You know what I mean? And listen, there's places that I've been to, and like in France, some restaurants, and it's like they treat us so good so that we can come back. And listen, I went back many times to a lot of restaurants because the food was amazing. People was amazing. It's just like, man, like you feel different when you're like a tourist. I mean, a tourist athlete,
Yeah.
What are you doing here? Oh, playing basketball. And like, oh, play basketball. And it's like, can I take a picture with you? It's like, man, it's a beautiful feeling, bro.
Nice. Yeah, because I always wondered about that. Just and then like you some of that stuff. You create memories. That's nostalgia. Yeah. Some place that provides you something great. Yeah, of course you want to go back there.
Yeah. Nah, like from Paris. You see these things when you're reading history books and stuff in school, like the Eiffel Tower, in Brazil, the Cristo, the big monument, like those things you see it in books. Russia, I have never in my life. The only time I seen Russia was Rocky Part 4 when he's training in the snow. And in my mind, I'm like, I'm never gonna be in Russia. Why am I running in the snow here like him? And bro, it happened. It happened. So it's like, yo, like for real, like this is crazy,
Yeah, like you said, you never know. You never know where this stuff is gonna take you. It's just you start on this journey, and it's like okay, and the pencil is something that you design what you're trying to do every single day, no matter how you look at it.
Yeah, it's true. Right. It's true.
All right, so now you so you coach basketball as well. Why'd you want to walk the sideline and yell a little bit? Why?
I still play. While I'm home, I play like in. Casey's here. He's probably like, yeah, he does. I play. I play ball almost every day. Well, I do play ball every day. Except today I didn't play ball. That's weird. I didn't. I was just chilling with my family. But I'm playing in like 3 minor professional leagues right now.
Okay.
I'm 37, bro. So I'm old, but my legs feel good and still dropping 35, 40. Doing shooting. Now I'm like a 3-point specialist, like OD.
Well, we just evolved the game. That's all. We just evolved the game.
That's it. Some tricks, pick and rolls, step backs, Curry step backs, and these young guys can't catch it. So listen, give me this much space, I'm gonna let it go, man.
Gotcha.
But yeah. I mean, I've been coaching since 2012, actually, and that's one thing that I always do when I go. That's one thing I forgot to mention. So when I go to the countries that I go to, I make sure that whoever brings me, like let's say a team signs me, or if there's a tournament overseas, whoever invited me to the tournament, I always let them know with time, like, yo, listen, me and my teammates, or if it's just me, I would love to like do a session where I can teach kids the game of basketball the way. When I say been taught, it wasn't one specific coach that taught me. It was many coaches, and I just took what every coach taught me and put it as like my own. So, just sharing that knowledge with the youth. So I make sure everywhere I go, like, okay, what time is my game? Oh, your game is at 3 p.m. Okay, at 11 a.m. or before the game sometime, I need a 2-hour session with kids from that neighborhood so I can give them a practice. Oh, but you're going to be tired for the game. Listen, is that part of the deal or not? Because I'm going over there to see you. Like, that's I'm not asking for nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what I do is I also have like my personalized basketball cards. And in the back, it has like a motivation message. You know, the kids, listen, bro, when I was a kid, one guy came, a tall guy came, I forgot his name, but he was supposedly in the Knicks. I don't even know if he played for the Knicks. But he came to our school, and I never forget as a kid, I ripped my notebook paper, and he signed it, and I kept that little piece of paper for like
Uh-oh. I might have lost you. Yep.
So
I lost you for a second.
just what was the last thing I said?
You had the notebook paper, and you said you kept the
Little
notebook
paper?
paper. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, like in a secret hiding place. So I know for sure if that moment impacted my life, where I was like, wow, that guy signed this little paper for me. In my mind, I'm like, man, how can it be impactful if I just give a kid a basketball card, sign it, maybe their mom or their dad, hey, can you take a picture of my son? And just that one moment can inspire that kid to like fulfill his own legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want none of that glory. If the kid grows up one day and says, yo, cool, you know? But nah, man, that's for that kid. Plant the seed and let the kid just fulfill his own journey if he wants to. If not, he could just collect the card, whatever. You know, I've got an Instagram messages from kids like, hey, Roman, like I go into the other message because you know you have the regular message and then the message with like people that you don't follow.
Mm-hmm.
And I, you know, sometimes that check because you never know, it might be something urgent or somebody you know reaching out.
Yep.
And it was like a kid, a grown man. And matter of fact, well, that's crazy. I'm gonna share something right now. And then the kid is like, hey, he took the picture of my card. You gave me this card when I was like 6. Yo, I continue to work on my game. Right now I'm playing high school basketball. Thank you for that day you came to the park, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, holy smokes. Friday, my best example with youth. I'm playing it. So I run my own like professional league, the USPBL.
Okay.
I also play in it as well, you know.
Yep.
That's every Friday night here in New York. And we play against a team with like overseas players. But it's this young cat, like 23 years old, bro, dunking. And I noticed in the fourth quarter, he's pressing me full court. And I was like, yo, bro, not for nothing. Mind you, win the game. This kid could have said, yo, bro, like, you know, I'm your enemy right now. Don't talk to me. He was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yo, bro, how old are you, bro? He was like 23. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, you know I'm 37, right? He was like, yeah, I know. Like, oh, this kid thinks he's, okay, he's trying to say I'm old. And then after the game, he came up to me and he was like, yo, you know I saw you playing when I was 7 years old? And I was like, I felt like a rock, like an old man. Like, you saw me play when you were 7? I'm like, where? And he gave me the tournament, and I was like, so, and he was like, yeah, that's why I was pressing you, because as a kid, in my mind, I always wanted to guard you. So now I'm an adult and I'm guarding you. I just wanted to fulfill that moment. I was like, I gave the kid a hug, like, yo, bro, you just motivated me, man. Like, thank you, bro. You know.
Yep.
So, you know, it's important to coach these kids, man. You know, you never know who you inspire. They might not get that love at home.
Mm-hmm.
They might not get that guidance of a father figure at home. Some parents, you know, I try to be as much as involved in my kids' lives. You know, my daughter is 13. She plays ball. She's been playing ball since she was 6. And the baby, she's 2, but now she started playing basketball. So, like, you know, at home, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I make sure I'm in their life, but I know for sure that some of these kids, like, you know, I coach twice during the week and I coach on the weekends. And I know for sure some of these kids, like, when they come to the practice, they feel like they're home, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, and they respect, they listen, you know, they know my story a little bit from social media, whatever. So, you know, I hope that I can the next generation so that next generation can inspire others too.
Okay. Definitely. And they need to hear those words of affirmation, mainly. Because it's just kind of like, yeah, I want to go play overseas. Okay. Have you ever looked into what you need to do? Well, no. Come on, let's talk. Or let's put you in line with somebody who has done that so that way you can know what's going on.
Yeah, Listen, bro. To help you what you were saying right now, literally yesterday, like I've been dealing with from seventh grade level to the 45 and over level. Like I've seen all right now, bro. During the week, I have all ages, so I see everything. Like yesterday, a parent calls me and she's like, "Oh, my son is coming to your practice. Please, Mr. Roman. He loves the game. He wants to go to the NBA, and I want you to take him to that level." But I know this kid for like 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever. He comes to the gym. I haven't seen him in 2 years. He's been telling me he's been working out. I'm like, okay, he's still the same he was 2 years ago.
Mm.
Mind you, he's playing against 13, 14-year-olds. He's 17. And it's like, how can I tell the mom, like, he got to put in more work? You know, like, it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like you said, we got to keep it real. I took the kids to the side, like, bro, what do you want to do with basketball? He was like, I want to make it. I'm like, bro, are you putting in the work to make it? Yeah, I am. I'm like, bro, listen to me. Are you putting in the work? Are you studying the game? Are you filming yourself? Are you playing 5-on-5, not 3-on-3 and 1-on-1s? Because that doesn't help.
Mm-hmm.
Because and then I told him, he's like, yeah, Mr. Ryan. Listen, try to record yourself. There's iPhones now. you can film yourself. You have a phone, right? Tell a friend to film you so you can see yourself play. Because if you don't see yourself play, then how are you gonna know if you improved or not?
Yep.
You know, like we have technology now. Might as well take advantage of it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I used to borrow my mom's camcorder, and there was a coach. Rest in peace, Mr. Van. He was like, "Your shot is good, but you're shooting from your stomach. You have to shoot from the top of your head." Let me ask you something. You want to be a okay shooter or you want to be a great shooter? And I was like, I want to be a great shooter. All right, you're going to have to film yourself. And that's where I got it from.
Mm-hmm.
So at that time, I had taken my mom's Sony VHS hidden, like her camera. And I messed it up eventually. But I'll just leave it like somewhere and film myself. I'm like, oh my God, my form is horrible. And it was just fixing it every time. Going to these gyms, trying to change my form. And everybody's like, yo, bro, you suck. But they didn't know it was that I was trying to work on my shot, on my form, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I was shooting a lot of air balls, but they didn't know that I was just working on my mechanics, you know?
Yep. Yeah, you know, sometimes you got to go through that process. It's like if I don't play for a little bit and I step into a gym, the first thing I'm going to do is I need to get my feet right. If my feet not right, the base not right, everything that I try to do outside of that is definitely not going to be right.
That's it.
And I'm trying to, you know, run my guys through my practice. It's kind of like, well, it's kind of hard for me to tell you go do something if I can't do it. So let me get myself together so that way, you know, we can actually run practice the way it's supposed to be. All right.
Exactly.
All right. So what I wanted to ask you was, as far as acting and everything like that with the sport, what made you want to step into the acting side of it?
So, the funny part about it is, me and my brother as kids, we was always like in a room. Because remember, we couldn't go out. Like, we had our Nintendo 64, our Super Nintendo, our basketball cards. But after a while, we'd always get tired. So, me and my brother in the room, we just were like fake, like act, like comedies, skits, and like just do our own thing in our own world. I would say like Albert Einstein, mm-hmm. where he was always like in a room,
yep.
and like he was creating things in his mind, and then when those things in his mind came to life, everyone like, oh God. So I feel like that bubble that we was in of our parents leaving us at home, and again, the TV shows from the 90s are way more like instructional and more educational than the TVs now.
Definitely.
You know, now you see SpongeBob laugh for 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Laughing at his friend that's on the rock. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like back then, those shows would teach you, like for example, Doug. Doug was part of my childhood. I don't know if you remember Doug.
Yeah, I definitely do.
Yeah, like he would always dream, and his dreams, he was something. He was a character, like, you know, Quail Man, or he was a cowboy. And shows like that, like, you know, Shaq appearing in those Nickelodeon shows inspired us to, like, us create our own thing, even though we was like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But, I say that acting in us. My brother nowadays, he's a filmmaker, so he still does. He's still in the world of acting, but as a filmmaker. With me, my dad was always like a funny guy, so we was always like look up to our dad because he was so funny. He made everyone laugh. either you spoke Spanish or not. Like he was just that guy to make everybody laugh. So I created a funny character guy, a crazy guy named Pacolito, and I was parties and Pacolito, that character just died, and then I just stopped doing it. But then in 2012, I was at a basketball game upstate New York, and one of my friends was like, "Yo, Roman, there's an audition to try out for Powerade, the drink, for a Powerade commercial."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Nah, I don't really do commercials." Like, "Yo, it's a basketball commercial." I'm like, "Oh, basketball commercial? I'm there." So then he sent me the information. I went to the audition. That day, bro, I was like on 2 hours of sleep. They said wear a black shirt. I wore a navy blue shirt because I was trying not to wake up my parents, so I just picked up like a dark color shirt, thinking it was black, but it was navy blue. And they said clean shaven. When I got to the place, I'm like, "Oh, I didn't shave," but I still went. And it was like 300 people, and I did the audition. It was in person, and like 3 days later, I got a call. "Hey, I got selected to be in the Powerade commercial."
Yeah.
And then again, I'm looking at it as a basketball player. Even in the auditions, we was at Rutgers University, and they had like 100 basketballs like on the court.
Mm-hmm.
So I took advantage of those 10 hours of shooting that day, of shooting for the commercial. Every time they said break, I was on the court working on my shot.
Yeah.
And then all the actors was like, "Yo, Rome, like this is not real, chill." And I'm like, "Bro, I'm in the park in the cold every day. Like let me take advantage of me being here."
Mm-hmm.
I was still in the basketball state, like
Yeah.
But then when that check came in, and I'll share it here, it was like 25, 30, and I got to help my father off of his debt, his rent debt. With that money, I was also able to help my wife and back then my girlfriend and my daughter leave their mom's house and move to a different apartment, like our own apartment. And then with that same confidence, get married a couple of months later. Like I was like, wait, time out. I can do basketball and also be an actor as well. So then I signed with an agency, and then it's been a roller coaster ride. It's been beautiful, man. Like sometimes when I share on social media that I'm in something, someone else sees it and they refer someone. It's like it's crazy. It's crazy. Same thing with basketball. Yo, I got a shooter. He can shoot. Oh, word, Papa. And then I'll go to that place, and then there, someone that saw me will give me their card. It's like the doors that I always try to knock. Like now they just open. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't have to knock right now. Okay, I got you. Let me just go in. Like, unreal.
Yeah.
But it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing. I also been able to share with my friends, like my teammates, like, yo, Roman, my agency, yo, Roman, I need some basketball players. What do you need, bro? And I'll share it in my group chat with my teammates. Some of them have booked commercials. Some of them also been in bad times and were able to like get out of it because of these opportunities.
For sure.
So it's unreal, man. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to get into that. So I only got one last thing for you. My thing that I always do is it's called Trophy Time. For Trophy Time, all I want you to do is let people know where they can find you for opportunities like you just said, and any opportunity that they want to throw towards you, or they might want to have speaking engagements. Any way that they can contact you besides your cell phone, because we don't want the bots contacting you. We don't need none of that.
So my Instagram is Roman Perez 4, just like it sounds. Also my website, romanperez.net. I'm also on Twitter and Facebook, Roman Perez. You can also follow Doodlebaez, DUDOBAEZ, which is my nonprofit organization in memory of my father, which we provide opportunities, whether it's camps, clinics, or tournaments for any ages to be a part of, in hopes of either getting a school scholarship or, getting a chance to play overseas.
Excellent. Well, Roman, I do thank you, and everybody that listens definitely thanks you for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. God bless, bro.
Thank you. God bless you too.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. I got it. We on the move. We on the move.